Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, authorities are investigating the grain elevator collapse in B County that killed one person. Fort Worth police are still reviewing that July 4th block party shooting where 2 officers had to shoot 2 armed men. And the latest details in the case of the missing Houston teen who was found this week. Authorities have declined to file charges so far. Matt?
We had some nice rain around the area today, about 1/3 of an inch. It's not over with just yet. There's a big blob out over the Gulf of Mexico, but it's having resistance coming on shore. Nonetheless, I do believe tomorrow we'll have a few more showers, and hopefully that'll have to hold us for a while. The heat wave's coming back. We'll be talking more about that coming up.
Former President Trump's aide pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of obstruction in the case of mishandling classified documents. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I'm James Munoz. Karina Garcia has the day off. The B County Sheriff's Office is investigating the grain elevator in Tynan that collapsed, killing 1 person and leaving 2 other people hurt. KLI reports an eyewitness to Tuesday's collapse told investigators one of the 3 victims was on top of the grain silo while the other 2 were on the ground. A result of the collapse, 37-year-old Sergio Jason Alvarez died. Ben Mangers and Andres Martinez were hurt and are currently in the hospital. Authorities say they're investigating the collapse as an accident. In Hallettsville, police arrested 45-year-old Joshua Michael Bryan of Terrell. He was detained during a traffic stop in the 2800 block of U.S. Highway 77 South. Authorities say Bryan is a convicted felon and was found with a loaded handgun. Bryan was booked into the Lavaca County Jail. Late Wednesday night, an 18-wheeler caught fire at a truck stop in Wharton County. Authorities say the fire was put out, but the truck's cab is a total loss. The driver is okay. Firefighters say this situation could have been worse considering how close the truck was to some fuel pumps. The Victoria Fire Department responded to a house fire around 1 p.m. today. Firefighters say an electrical box in the backyard caught fire, but it was put out and contained pretty quickly. No one was hurt, and AEP responded to restore power to that home. Well, we hope you enjoyed the rain around 1:30 this afternoon. This was down Navarro near the station. Mac, we'd like some more of this rain, please.
Do the best I can. Tomorrow we still have a shot at getting a little bit more. There you see the city, and you can see how the stuff came in, but there's still a lot out here. The problem is it's not sort of following it. It's almost rotating and retreating back. Nonetheless, we've got enough moisture in the ground for a little heating tomorrow to pop a couple of rounds of showers. And let's hope so, because after that, the weekend gets back to the sunny and hot stuff. I'll have more details on your weather coming up in a moment. James?
Mac, thank you. Houston police say no charges were filed in the case of Rudy Farias. He was reported missing 8 years ago, but might not have gone missing at all. 17-year-old Rudy Farias was reported as missing on March 7th, 2015. Police say he actually returned home the very next day, March 8th, 2015. A community activist who spoke with Rudy says the now 25-year-old was abused and drugged by his mother. Police have not confirmed those details.
Yes, I interviewed him, and no, there was no. I'm trained to listen for probable cause. I'm trained to listen for statements that can help me get charges or move forward with a case. And no, there was no statements made during this investigation so far, no.
Thank you. Next question. Go ahead, Mario.
They say while he was listed as missing, both Rudy and his mother had interactions with police and false identities were provided. Police say the case is still under review. They have not ruled out filing charges at large. Here's your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan the QR code right there on your screen to vote now. Should there be charges filed in the case of Rudy Farias? Yes or no? Or there should be more investigation first. We want to hear your opinion. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to participate, and we'll have an update on 25 News Now at 6. The man who killed 23 people at a Walmart in El Paso in 2019 could still face the death penalty. 24-year-old Patrick Crucius pleaded guilty in February to 90 federal murder and hate crime charges. He's expected to receive 90 consecutive life sentences. Prosecutors are still seeking the death penalty in the state's case. Crucius pleaded not guilty to a state charge of capital murder of multiple persons. The El Paso District Attorney says Crucius will go into state custody later this fall. That trial is expected next year or in 2025. Fort Worth police continued to investigate after officers shot two armed men at a 4th of July block party. Two other people also had gunshot wounds.
The intersection of 32nd and Ross is littered with the debris of one very big 4th of July gathering. Neighbors tell us it's an annual fireworks block party, 100 people or more. Except this time, police say it led to an altercation. At least two men with guns, a Fort Worth police officer and an arson investigator on fireworks patrol, confronted them.
This was a very dynamic scene that just came out of nowhere. Officers weren't even trying to respond to the scene when they came by.
Officers fired, two men were killed. Then they found another man and a woman nearby with gunshot wounds too. Then today, neighbor Christopher Hernandez wanted to show us what appears to be a bullet hole in the side of his house.
I heard something and I looked this morning and I saw that.
A wall directly facing the scene of the shooting.
Frightening. It's very frightening.
And inside his house.
Just follow me and we'll take you right into the room.
He showed us where the bullet entered his guest room.
This is the bedroom where my daughter sleeps when she comes to visit.
That evidence, combined with the 9 more 9mm shell casings we found on the sidewalk in front of his house, led Fort Worth police to return to investigate. Whether the bullets are part of the investigation or more evidence of July 4th celebratory gunfire is still to be determined.
I heard a lot of fireworks and I heard pow, 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 like gunfire. And I said, that's gunfire. And then I heard boom, something hit my wall. Yeah, it's scary, this happening so close. But like I said, for years it's been a festive thing, no violence. And all of a sudden we have this violence. It's kind of like a sign of the times, you know.
The Fort Worth police chief, in response to this and the mass shooting after the Como Festival, echoes that too.
I think the important thing to remember is that it's stressful for all of us. It's stressful for the entire city of Fort Worth. It's stressful for the nation. This is going on all over. And quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
The officers who shot the two armed men are currently on administrative leave pending a review of the incident, which is standard policy. The Justice Department has released more information about the photographic and video evidence regarding classified documents stored at Mar-a-Lago. The details matched what was included in last month's indictment of Trump and his co-defendant, Walt Nautaw. The search warrant showed what prosecutors knew before asking to search the Florida property last summer. It was described what prosecutors could see on surveillance footage outside a basement storage room where the classified documents were kept. Today, Donald Trump's aide, Walt Nautaw, was in federal court in Florida. He pleaded not guilty to 6 counts, including obstruction and concealment-related charges for the mishandling of classified documents. He also requested a jury trial. He served as military valet in the White House and traveled with Trump when he left office before taking the role of Trump's personal aide. Nautaw's arraignment comes nearly a month after he and Trump were first indicted. For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Read about authorities making an arrest in the San Marcos apartment fire that killed 5 people. That's under top stories. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today News. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. Philadelphia is taking legal action against 2 companies that make so-called ghost guns. Also ahead, new research shows under its strict abortion law, Texas had nearly 10,000 more births than expected in the last 9 months of 2022.
Masking the deadly wave. Join 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel for a 25 News Now Extra, Thursday, July 13th at 10 p.m. We focus on the alarming rise of the deadly drug fentanyl.
What you know about fentanyl is probably maybe 10% of the reality.
Fentanyl is easy to make and cheap to get, and it has flooded communities across the United States, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Don't miss this eye-opening extra that could save lives.
Cruise missiles at a western Ukraine city, killing at least 6 people in an apartment building. Ukrainian leaders said it was the heaviest attack on civilian areas in Lviv since the Kremlin's forces invaded Ukraine last year. The nighttime attack early Thursday destroyed the roof and 2 top floors. Around 60 apartments and 50 cars were also damaged. The city's governor says the youngest of the 5 people who died was 21 years old and the oldest 95. A vigil for the victims of Monday's mass shooting in Philadelphia was held Wednesday night. Now city leaders are taking legal action against 2 ghost gun suppliers.
Philadelphia residents still in shock after city officials say Kim Brady Carricker went on a, quote, deliberate killing spree Monday.
Some maniac walking around just shooting. For what? We probably would never know why, but you took my son. You took my baby.
Officials say both of the guns found with the 40-year-old suspect were so-called ghost guns, which are weapons that are manufactured privately and untraceable.
You can take these guns through magnetometers without being detected. So this is like a level of insanity that no one should ever deal with.
The city of Philadelphia has filed a lawsuit against Polymer 80 Incorporated and JSD Supply Incorporated, which authorities say are major ghost gun suppliers.
These companies even want to go around the bare minimum regulations and be able to sell this stuff by mail to anyone without a background check and without a serial number on the gun.
Buyers of these weapons are often those who can't legally buy a firearm, such as minors or felons, according to the city's press release. There have been at least 359 mass shootings in the U.S. thus far this year, according to data from the Gun Violence Archive. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The gunman accused of killing 5 people is now in custody facing numerous charges. New research from the journal JAMA shows Texas's strict abortion law that took effect in 2021 may have led to nearly 10,000 more births than expected in the last 9 months of 2022. The law took effect nearly 10 months before the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision overturned Roe v. Wade. From April to December 2022, the first months that would have reflected the ban's effects, there were about 297,000 total births. That's roughly 3% more than the 287,000 expected without the law. The hottest global temperature ever recorded happened this week, reaching just under 63 degrees Fahrenheit. The experts say climate change is making heat waves more common and more powerful.
It's the deadliest weather event in the U.S. Every year, the heat causes more than 700 deaths on average and more than 67,000 emergency room visits.
It doesn't take much. It can be an hour or two that can lead to the cells and tissues of the body starting to feel the effect of it.
Dr. Ian Sin with Mayo Clinic says in the heat, your body tries to cool off in several ways. But when the temperature is extremely high, it becomes harder for your body to cool itself down. The most serious heat-related illness is heat stroke.
And that is when you start having confusion, delirium as we call it, as well as loss of consciousness and more severe brain injury as a result of the effects of heat.
Sin says when that happens, it can hurt not only the brain, but other organs like the heart, lungs, and kidneys as well.
It's almost an inflammation that gets created. There is destruction of proteins, the membranes of the cells, and that leads to cell death.
To keep your body safe in the heat, stay hydrated with water, avoiding sugary beverages, which can add to dehydration. Stay cool in an air-conditioned area and wear lightweight, light-colored, loose-fitting clothes. Sin says those who are most vulnerable to the heat should avoid it.
If there's any cause of concern, definitely seeking health care is important.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Pack the Bus registration is underway for children in need of school supplies. You can register online at myfcc.com/packthebus. Volunteers will distribute supplies on Saturday, August 5th at Faith Family on Mockingbird. For questions about registration, stop by Faith Family Church Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to noon, or go to our Twitter page or contact Stephanie Cadango, 361-573-2484. Mac?
Well, we got some nice showers, and we're getting a little break right now. We're going to have some real pretty clouds for sunset. If you are going to be out there with a camera, it's going to be nice. Now, we do have more opportunity for rain showers tomorrow, and let's hope we do, folks, because after that, the heat is on again. We'll have your forecast coming up in a moment. Hopefully you got a little bit of shower activity and probably got your shoes wet as well. But that was the good stuff. We got some nice rain today, about 1/3 of an inch in our area. Looking at 85 right about now, and your high temperature only got up to 87. I was wrong. I said 90. I was off by 3 degrees, but I guess you're not going to complain because we're supposed to be about 94 this time of year, and that's probably the lowest temperature we've seen in what, month and a half? I mean, it was delightful. So these are high temperatures around the region. 89 in is that 89? Yeah, 89 in Lavaca, 87 in Gonzales, 85 in Kennedy. Tomorrow, we're looking at the forecast high temperatures, and still basically along the coast from East Texas down into the valley. The coastal areas are going to be looking at more clouds and more shower activity. Maybe not as widespread as today, but you know, it'll be nice. I think you'll enjoy it. And that's for your Thursday. Then, no, that's your Friday. And then by Saturday, we start saying goodbye to a lot of this. There's the band that came through. You notice if we played this back again, it goes in, and then it has a little bit of a turn that way. Isn't that interesting? And you'll notice this one comes in, and then it sort of pulls back out to sea. So we still have a whole ton of moisture right off the Gulf Coast. I mean, if we can get a nice little strong breeze going in, we have a lot of rain. But this is actually going to park itself out there and then drift up maybe toward the Louisiana area before it falls apart. But tomorrow we still have a good shot at getting more of the same little rain shower activity. Let's look at it one more time and we'll close in on it. You can see Victoria right about here. I mean, look at that stuff. It's still all over the Gulf Coast from Palacios on down. Now, Corpus Christi had the shower activity. Generally, 1/3 to about 1/2 inch of rain all over the crossroads, and that was a real nice break. I don't know, you know, it's certainly not going to cause any kind of flooding like that. So for the next couple of days, we've got that rain opportunity right about there. And then this big old thing, another big dome of high pressure, is going to be rolling into our area and over Texas and giving us another heat wave. I know you didn't want to hear that, right? I didn't want to hear it either, but that's what's happening. The Atlantic got a big influence of Saharan air dust, and so it's going to be a little quiet for another 7 days. But here in the Pacific, we're going to see two storms. There's one that kicks up. That's going to be a big storm, big hurricane, and then another big hurricane here. The good news is these will continue traveling out to sea. When they get out to about here, they start falling apart because it's colder water. The reason I track this is because sometimes the moisture, if it turns this way, gets caught up over the mountains of northern Mexico and then starts firing thunderstorms in Texas, and then we have to sort of deal with it. But here is the long-term heat waves, July 13th through the 19th. Very hot for the south, extremely hot for Texas, and dangerously hot for West Texas and southern portions of New Mexico. So let's take a look at the local forecast. Looking for your high temperature tomorrow in Port Lavaca, only getting up to 88 because we have another shot at partly cloudy and scattered shower activity around the area. In Cuero, we're only going to get up to 90. Wow, that's pretty good. We haven't seen that in a while. Partly cloudy with some scattered showers around the region. But here it is for the Crossroads. We got showers Friday, a few leftovers on Saturday. Then the old heat index starts clicking up. In fact, we'll be back to the 115 degree heat index by the time we get to the early or the middle part of next week. So whatever you did then last week, you're going to have to be doing next week. But it's nice that we get the nice break in the rain, in the heat with the rain. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that with your phone and put Crossroads Today on your cell phone. James, back to you.
Mac, thank you very much. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at Wall Street. Plus, OceanGate has suspended all exploration and commercial operations after the Titan submersible implosion. The Dow down 367 points, the S&P 500 off 35 points, and the NASDAQ losing 112 points. Oil up 1 cent, closing at $71.80 a barrel. OceanGate has suspended its exploration and commercial operations. All 5 people, including CEO Stockton Rush, on board the Titan submersible owned by OceanGate, were killed in an implosion last month. The suspension is listed at the top of the OceanGate's website. However, it still features descriptions of expedition offerings, including tours of the Titanic wreckage. The Titan was about an hour and 45 minutes into a planned dive to reach the remains of the Titanic when it lost contact with its mothership on June 18th. The largest offshore wind farm in U.S. waters is under construction off the coast of New Jersey. The Biden administration approved the Ocean Wind 1 project Wednesday. It will be built 13 nautical miles southeast of Atlantic City. It could include up to 98 turbines as well as 3 substations to transmit wind-generated electricity to shore. The wind farm could generate enough energy to power more than 380,000 homes. Other wind farms are under construction in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New York. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, the new global high temperature set on Tuesday continues into Wednesday, but that might not last. Continues across the globe. Data from the U.S. National Centers for Environmental Prediction showed the average world temperature on Wednesday tied the new record set the day before, 62.92 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists believe there will likely be more record temps as we enter the El Nino weather pattern. El Nino has a warming effect which is layered on top of climate change fueled global heating. No one understands that better than you, Mac.
Yep, we've been talking about it for 20 years, and I appreciate that. I'll tell you what, we knew this 20 years ago, but the heat didn't rise. You know why? Because it was being absorbed into the oceans. Now the oceans can't take it anymore, so it's all yours.
It's all yours. Here you go.
And, you know, to quote one famous scientist, it's only going to get worse. So if we don't do something about the way we're living, and it's not complicated to change. Well, we do have to make some changes. Anyway, for us, the clouds gave us a little bit of a break in the heat. Only 87 was our high temperature, 40% chance tomorrow, then a meager 20% on Saturday, and then the heat is back on with the heat index getting back up to about 115 about middle of next week. So this next heat wave that we're going to be feeling is really going to be over the entire southern portion of the United States. And let me put it this way. If Texas couldn't handle it, What do you imagine people in Nebraska and Ohio are going to do with you?
Check on your family, get lots of water. Thank you for being with us. David Muir's up next.